Hey, eighth graders, Spiral Review number 5 here. And you'll notice there's a special guest appearance from Slope Dude on here saying, hey, dudes, because Slope Dude, man, he needs to help us out sometimes because for whatever reason, Slope just confuses us. So don't be intimidated by Slope. Slope, I think the tricky part is the reason that a lot of kids struggle is because we're so used to going left, right, then up and down when we're plotting our points. But excuse me, when we do slope, we're always looking at that up down movement over our left right movement, our elevator over our run. So it's like you're having to switch back, and it's just very easy to get it flip flopped or confused because it's like X's and Y's and lefts and rights and ups and downs. It's a lot. So the way I like to write it is like this. I have any 2 points. It doesn't matter which 2 points I'm comparing, which one's on top, which one's subtracting the other one. As long as we simplify correctly, we'll be fine. So we're going to take these 2 points and find the slope. So 5 minus 3 is the space between how high one point is compared to how high another one is. One is at 5 and one's at 3. So the space between those is 2, right? Well, then negative 10 minus 8, negative 10 minus 8. Got to know your integers here. 2 was the top, and negative 10 minus 8, you could keep change. It's going to be negative 18. And that is technically how far apart how wide this, goodness, I can't talk right now, this space between the 2 points as far as their width, okay, how far left and right they are. So we've got our elevator over our run. We're just telling you the space between your points. That's it. It feels way more complicated. That's what we're doing with those numbers. So 2 over negative 18 is almost done. It's correct. It's just not simplified. We can make it even easier. It's negative 1/9. Okay, that negative sign could go downstairs in the denominator, it could be upstairs, it could be out front. Negative 1/9 is the best answer there. Okay, so use this technique where you draw the arrows to help you remember. Don't forget to make sure you're doing your elevator over your run. So like on this one, I could say 1 minus 6 over 2 minus 12, but those are both going to be negatives. So I'm actually going to put this one underneath. Don't tell anybody. 6 minus 1 and 12 minus 2, way easier. That's 5/10, and 5/10 simplifies to 1/2. Okay, so those are our answers for that section. You do these 2 on your own. Okay. Additionally, when we have slope, we are plugging it in many times to slope intercept form. We're representing information on a graph. Got one number line, I'm like, I got another set of data or more information I want to compare it to. What could I do? How could I represent that? I'll do another number line. Okay, so now we have 2 number lines, and that makes a coordinate plane. It's not some evil math person laughing in a dark room somewhere trying to make your life miserable. I promise they're just comparing 2 pieces of information. So we have slope intercept form. We've got that sneaky pirate who puts the starting point at the back, and then we build on that with our slope. So our slope in this one is simply 5, okay? 5x plus 4, okay? This is going to be 1x minus 2, but you can't always see that 1 there. So they don't always put that there, but it's there. 1 times anything is itself. And then these 2, they're not in slope intercept form, so you just have to arrange them that way. Look at these for model. Look to these as models. Y is alone and positive, and it equals your x's and your constants. Y is alone and positive, equaling your x's and constants. So let's make that happen here. Let's make y alone. So we're adding 3x. Let's get rid of that 3x by subtracting it away. So y is positive and alone. I'm going to put my x's first. So it's good to think of this as negative 3x and a positive 10, just hanging out on the right side. Okay, my intercept would have been 10. My slope would be negative 3. Okay, rearrange, move things left or right, divide anything away from your y's. You want your y's to always be alone if that happens, and that'll get you your answer for number 8. For numbers 9 through 14, we're looking at real world situations. Okay, so read the situation and graph it. Remember that your starting point is on your y-axis, okay? We're thinking about where are we starting, and then time usually is going to be ticking by. And as time ticks by, our y information will change, okay? So like a day goes by and this happens, or a month goes by and that happens. So I've labeled your axes already for you. And it says here you watched 15 TikToks. I can't even imagine that you guys would watch only 15 TikToks, but you watched 15 TikToks, and then you watch 5 more per minute. Okay, that's more realistic. So our starting point's at 15. That's between 10 and 20. Always make sure you're paying close attention. They could draw lines for every little number that existed, but they don't want to. I don't want to. So instead of me drawing 40 lines, I just made my intervals by tens. So 15 is our starting point, and then a minute ticks by, tick tock on our on our x-axis, always going that way. Now it's not always going to be time on your x-axis, but it almost always is. 1 minute ticks by, tick tock, and then we go up five tick-tocks. That's funny. I'm saying a lot of TikTok and they mean two different things. Another minute ticks by, and that's 5 more TikToks. 3 minutes, 5 more. 4 minutes, 5 more. Our rate of change is 5, right? That's our slope. Okay, 5 is our slope. That's how much we change each time. Notice I didn't count up my elevator up 5 lines. I counted up 5 as far as it would be represented on that number line. Okay. My starting point was 15 TikToks. So remember that sneaky pirate putting the starting point of the treasure in the very back. So your slope is 5, your intercept is 15. Okay, so take that same idea. You have $100 in your bank account, starting point, and you spend, you lose, you go down every month. Okay, so it says because you spend $25 on energy drinks each month. Gag, because barf, I've never even had an energy drink. They sound disgusting to me, but also I don't drink coffee or tea. I'm kind of like, I guess a drink snob. I like to drink like an 8-year-old. I like lemonade and hot chocolate. Don't judge me. Okay, so you start at 100 and you go down from there. Okay, and real world stuff, we tend to deal a lot in the positives. This is quadrant number 1, because it's special, because it's got all those positive numbers, but it's definitely possible to go negatives in the real world. Okay, you can lose money in your bank account if you have too many energy drinks. Okay, so you have a collection of 300 seashells. Congratulations. And you never ever find more you like, but you also never get rid of any. Okay, so you start at 300 and then time ticks by 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And does the number change? No, you still have 300 all of those years later. So your slope is going to be a nice, boring 0. Okay, so you actually could just put a 0 there, or you don't even need an X because you have 0 of them, right? So focus in on that starting point that actually hangs around and is always the case. So next side, okay, integers. We've been talking about these in class more, that we've worked on exponents, and we're getting into square roots and things like that. So a couple things. I want you to think I want you to get better and better at these perfect squares. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16, 25, 36, and so on, okay? And so you want to find the perfect squares that are going to wrap around these weirdo ones that are not perfect squares, okay? This is actually an irrational number because it's a non-perfect square. But I'm going to do myself a fave and find out what 2 perfect squares is this between. Well, let's see here. 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. 36 is just below it. And the next one up is 49. The square root of 36, that's a nickname, right? For 6, the square root of 49 is 7. So the square root of 40 must be between them. So it's between 6 and 7. So you go over here, letter B is your answer for that one. Now, on this next one, a negative square root, that is not possible, because square roots mean you have to have the number multiplied by itself twice, okay? And it will equal that number under the radical sign. Well, a positive times a positive is a positive sign, is a positive number, and a negative times a negative is also positive. So if you have a negative number under your radical sign, it ain't possible, people, okay? This one right here is going to be between the perfect square of 100 and 121. So what are those square roots? You can use a calculator, I do not care, but you have to know how to identify that. So it's about making sense of it, not just like throwing an answer out, okay? One of these answers is not going to be used, and one of them is going to be used twice. So be aware of that. It is okay to have a negative sign outside the parentheses, or excuse me, I don't know why I said parentheses, outside the radical sign, but not inside, okay? Last but not least, solutions. Remember, are infinitely many solutions. No solutions, maybe there's just one solution, and maybe you just need to go to the grocery store. I don't know if that's just random, but still, check the box. So whenever you have the same amount of x's and then you have the same amount of constants, you were doing the same thing to the number. Multiply by 7, add 10. Multiply by 7 over here and add 10. Same thing. You can put any number in there and get the same results, infinitely many. Okay. Then on this one, you've got, I'll go ahead and mark that, I guess. I'll be a good girl. Okay. 4 equals 4x plus 3, or excuse me, 4x equals 4x plus 3. So what they're saying is take a number and multiply by 4, take a number and multiply by 4, but add 3, and they'll be equal. Well, that is not possible, people. So if you have the same amount of x's and then you do something funky and different to them, okay, that is not going to be possible. No solution. If I have different amounts of variables, different amounts of x's, I don't even have to care about the constants. I already know there's just going to be one solution to that system because I'm going to move my x's and get them together on one side and be able to solve. Next up, my favorite snack is, I literally was not prepared for this. I was prepared to know what your favorite snacks were. My favorite snack, I have so much pressure. Not energy drinks, probably, I don't know, cookies. I like cookies, especially homemade cookies. Those are the best. They're only good actually when they're homemade. So I usually make a bunch of cookie dough and then freeze it in balls. And then whenever I'm ready, have fresh cookies, I just take them out. Although I live with 4 boys and a husband who love cookie dough and then they just eat it. So by the time I want to have fresh baked cookies, all the dough is gone. I'm not a dough eater either. I know, I'm weird. I'm an anomaly. Okay, do the rest of this one on your own, and that's it. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. If you have questions, ask me in class. Bye.